My beloved teenage daughter disappeared from home, and I spent years searching for her. What I discovered still lingers in my heart, haunting me to this day. My dear Emily was once the kind of girl who'd shyly duck behind me when boys greeted her and giggle at romantic scenes in animated films. It was during her first year of high school that I began to notice subtle shifts in her demeanor. She started wearing heavier makeup and skimpier outfits. When I tried to address it, she'd snap at me, her voice sharp with defiance, insisting it was her body and her choice. She'd often throw out, "But everyone's doing it, Mom." Watching my sweet, innocent daughter try to mold herself into what she thought was a grown woman was heartbreaking. I gently explained that makeup and revealing clothes didn't mean she had to follow the crowd, urging her to embrace who she wanted to be. But she wouldn't listen. I believed in giving her space to grow, thinking this might just be a passing phase. Yet our bond began to fray. Conversations turned into disputes, and disputes escalated into full-blown arguments. She started inviting boys over, some of whom seemed far too old for her, men who could have been in their 20s. Then one day, I reached my breaking point. While she was at school, I searched her room for something I suspected she'd taken. Tucked behind her bedside lamp, I found a small plastic bag. I'd had my wild days in college, so I knew exactly what it contained. When she came home, I confronted her. The argument exploded. She shouted. I shouted back. It was one of our worst fights. The next morning, when I went to check on her, she was gone. 2 suitcases from my closet were missing. I called the police immediately, my heart racing with panic. How could my precious Emily, the girl I loved more than anything, vanish like this? I scoured our small Texas town, driving endlessly through familiar streets. The police found nothing, and neither did I. 4 years passed, without a word, until a friend's mother sent me a disturbing Instagram post. It was a news clip featuring a girl who looked like Emily. The headline read, "Sex Trade Workers Protest in Southside District." My stomach churned. There was no way my daughter had fallen so far. But the more I studied the video, the more she seemed intoxicated, lost in a haze. Tears streamed down my face. Sitting in my bedroom, I watched my daughter's life unravel on a screen, powerless to intervene. The report was from Los Angeles, far from our quiet Texas town. After days of grappling with the news, I booked a flight to California, determined to find her. For weeks, I drove a rental car through the gritty south side of LA, following the news report's lead. I'd pick a street, drive its length, move to the next block, and repeat. The odds of finding her were slim, but I had no other options. The police had been useless before, so I didn't bother with them. Then, a miracle happened. In a rundown neighborhood, I spotted a girl with Emily's unmistakable features. I slowed the car, rolled down the window, and called her name. "Emily?" She turned, and there she was. My beautiful daughter. I leapt out and ran to her. To my astonishment, she ran toward me, crying, "Mom! Mom!" We embraced, tears soaking our faces in a moment I'll cherish forever. After 10 minutes of clinging to each other, I took her to a diner to eat and talk. She looked worn, her eyes clouded by drugs or pain. I'd hoped for a heartfelt conversation, but she sat there, expressionless, barely responding. It unnerved me. But toward the end of the meal, she opened up slightly. When we finished, I expected her to follow me to the car. She didn't. She stood frozen, staring. I asked why she wasn't coming. Didn't she want a fresh start? She stepped closer and whispered words that still chill me. "I can't, Mom. They'll find me. They'll hurt me." That was my breaking point. I insisted she come with me, but she said they were watching, that they'd threatened her during our meal without me noticing. I told her to stay put while I called the police. As the phone rang, her eyes darted to something in the distance. She hugged me tightly, whispered, "I'm sorry, I love you, Mom," and bolted. She ran faster than I could ever hope to. In that instant, I drowned in grief. My daughter was in danger, and I couldn't protect her even when she was right there. I felt like a failure, as a mother, a guardian, a person. Watching her spiral tore me apart, dragging me into my own despair. I couldn't return to Texas without her. The thought of facing her empty room and explaining to my family that I'd lost her again was unbearable. After she fled, I sat in my car, replaying every moment, questioning my mistakes. The police were no help, and I couldn't face going home. So I drifted between motels, wandering unfamiliar streets, handing out flyers to anyone who'd take one. Nights were heavy with regret. Maybe if I'd shown more love and less frustration, things would have been different. Most days, I pushed forward, clinging to every shelter worker's vague promise to call. The city tested my faith, but I kept moving, refusing to abandon Emily. I started on Figueroa Street, taping flyers to bus stops and laundromats, working my way south. People passed by, some on their way to jobs, others already lost to the streets. Few met my eyes. Those who did seemed to understand. Another missing girl, another desperate mother. I wondered how many faces they'd seen on those poles before. At a corner where teens gathered around a broken cart, I handed out flyers. A girl, maybe 16, with chipped nail polish and a nose ring, studied Emily's photo for a long time. "She's not with us," she said, but her lips twitched as she tucked the flyer into her pocket. Each day brought new stops: a soup kitchen on 7th, a drop-in center with worn furniture, a park where men played cards for pennies. I learned to expect nothing but notice everything. Some offered prayers, others avoided my gaze, as if grief were contagious. At one shelter, a weary social worker let me use their phone, scrolling through a database of missing teens with detached efficiency. "We see a lot of runaways," she said, not unkindly. "Some come back, some don't." I jotted down addresses, numbers, dates, piecing together a trail. Sometimes, a spark of hope, a sighting at a bus stop or a donut shop counter. I'd rush there, heart racing, only to find it wasn't her. When the city overwhelmed me, I'd stare at the pavement, hoping for a sign. Sometimes I'd sit in my car, breathing, letting the world blur around me. I couldn't afford to break. I recognized familiar faces: the guard who watched me tape flyers at the 7-Eleven, the woman with a shopping cart by the freeway. Their routines grounded me, a reminder that life persisted, even for those stuck in time. Every block, every flyer, every "have you seen her?" kept hope alive, however faint. I avoided calling home, pretending Texas didn't exist. No house, no son, no mounting bills. As long as I kept searching, I was still a mother, still fighting for Emily. But Gil eventually suffocated me. I bought a calling card at a gas station, my phone too unreliable for long-distance calls. Joshua answered after 3 rings, his voice deeper, edged with something sharp. "Deborah." Not Mom. The word pierced me. "Hi, honey. Just checking in," I said, forcing cheer. He was silent. "Still in California?" I nodded, forgetting he couldn't see. "Yes, still looking." Another pause. "It's been 2 months. Grandma's worried. Dad called. They said you'll lose your job if you don't check in." I steadied my voice. "Joshua, I have to find her. I can't leave." His voice cracked. "You left us. You left me." The words cut deeper than anything. "I know, sweetheart. I'm sorry. I just need to keep trying. She's out there." He softened slightly. "I went to her room today. It still smells like her. I just want her home, Mom. Even if you can't bring her." His words crushed me, guilt, shame, longing. "I can't yet," I whispered. "But I'm not giving up. Not on you, not on her." He sighed. "Just call, okay? Grandma prays for you both every night. Even Dad does." We hung up, neither saying, "I love you." I stared at the motel ceiling, fighting tears, feeling like a ghost haunting 2 worlds, but belonging to neither. I met Linda at a soup kitchen, a folding table in a vacant church lot. She stood out like me, clean jeans, hair neatly tied, clutching flyers with trembling hands. The volunteers, perhaps out of pity, poured our coffee steaming hot. We stood aside, 2 women adrift in a sea of hardship. She nodded at my flyers. "Yours missing too?" I showed her Emily's photo. 4 years. I saw her recently, but she ran. Linda offered a sad smile, holding up her son's picture. "Toby. Gone a year. Last seen around Easter." Talking to someone who understood felt strange but comforting. With Linda, I didn't need to explain my shaking hands or why I scanned every young face. She spoke of calling hospitals, badgering police, sleeping outside shelters. "I've memorized their intake schedules," she admitted. "They're always full. They never know anything." We walked the streets together that afternoon, sharing stories. Linda spoke of her quiet Bakersfield home, her ex-husband's anger, the empty birthdays. I shared my guilt over Joshua, the way my mother stopped asking when I'd return. It was easier with a companion. We watched out for each other, taking turns questioning strangers. Once, as a street fight erupted, Linda grabbed my hand, pulling me into a doorway until it passed. We laughed, shaky but alive, feeling briefly normal, 2 mothers on a grim mission. That night, over cheap tacos in her car, we spoke of our old lives. Linda wrote letters to Toby, sealing them in her glove box. I admitted I did the same for Emily. We exchanged addresses, vowing to call with any news. "Maybe our kids are out there together," Linda joked, her smile fragile. Before parting, she squeezed my hand. "Don't give up, Deborah, even when it feels like you already have." I promised I wouldn't, and for the first time in weeks, I almost believed it. Nights in LA were relentless. Sirens and arguments seeped through motel windows, and memories flooded in. I recalled telling Emily about the divorce when she was 11, sitting on our Tucson backyard swing under a blinding sun. "Your dad and I can't stay together," I'd said clumsily, "but we both love you." She gripped the swing's chains. It means Dad doesn't love you anymore. I couldn't argue. Kids see through lies. The move to Oregon was meant to be a fresh start, but grief shadowed every mile. Emily grew sharp, watching me like I might vanish too. By high school, I was losing her to new friends, late nights, and slammed doors. I'd stand outside her room, listening for her breathing, proof she was still there. I made mistakes, letting anger slip, treating her like a child when she needed understanding. Regret is my fluent tongue now. In LA, the past clung tightly. I replayed our fights, wishing I'd loved her better, seen her needs. Maybe then she'd be safe, not lost in this city's shadow. I once trusted the system, believing uniforms would help in a crisis. In LA, that faith crumbled. At the police station, I waited an hour under flickering lights, the air thick with sweat and stale coffee. The officer barely glanced up. "Runaway?" he asked, scribbling. "My daughter. I saw her. She's in trouble." He raised an eyebrow. "How old?" 18. His look was cold. "She's an adult. She can choose." I pleaded. "She's not safe. She's being exploited." He cut me off, handing me a pamphlet. "Unless she's a danger, we can't do much." Shelters were no better. Endless forms, wait lists, rules. One worker, kind but tired, said, "We're full every night. If she checks in, we'll call." I saw the doubt in her eyes. Some recognized Emily's photo but offered only vague leads, torturous glimmers of hope. I joined a support group once, listening to parents whose stories mirrored mine. Their voices broke, some hopeful, others empty. I watched the clock, frustrated by the hours wasted waiting for others to find my child. I called hotlines just to hear a voice, often hanging up before anyone answered. The world seemed built to break mothers like me, doors slamming until I stopped asking. But I didn't. Each rejection fueled my resolve. If the system wouldn't save Emily, I'd do it myself. A Tuesday afternoon call jolted me from a donut shop booth. Eddie, the outreach worker, said, "Deborah, I think we've got something. A girl matching Emily's description near the 6th Street bus depot. Blue jacket, long hair, looking unwell. Hurry." Hope surged. I ran to my car, fumbling keys, praying as I sped through the city. The depot was a mess. Crowds, guards, pigeons. I held up Emily's photo, asking everyone, "Blue jacket, long hair, sick, have you seen her?" A man pointed to an alley. She was here, left with others. I ran, the alley reeking of filth, scanning every shadow. Then I saw her, or thought I did. A girl in a blue jacket, head down, with 3 others. Her steps dragged. "Emily!" I shouted. She looked up, her eyes haunted, her posture familiar. But as I got closer, she recoiled. It wasn't her, just another lost soul wearing my daughter's pain. One of her companions stepped forward. "Get out, lady. These streets'll swallow you." Humiliation and grief twisted inside me. I stumbled back, hope dissolving into self-loathing. I'd let myself believe, only to crash again. I returned to my car, tears falling, clutching Emily's photo. "I'm still here," I whispered. "I'll keep looking." After sunset, the streets turned sinister, shadows hiding secrets I feared to learn. I grew reckless, walking alleys alone with a phone and pepper spray. One night, taping a flyer to a lamppost, footsteps closed in. A young man, eyes wild, demanded, "What are you doing?" "Looking for my daughter," I said, showing the flyer. "Got money." He grabbed my arm, yanking me. Before I could scream, a thin woman in a scarf shouted something sharp, and he backed off, cursing. She approached, eyes fierce. "Stupid to walk alone! This place eats people! Go home!" "I can't," I whispered. "Not without her." She nodded, understanding, and pressed a small flashlight into my hand. "Keep your eyes open." I thanked her, trembling, clutching Emily's wrinkled photo. I sat on the curb, shaking, wanting to call Joshua to give up, but I stood, refusing to break. That night I slept in my clothes, flashlight in hand, dreaming of Emily safe in her bed, her small hand in mine. A motel phone woke me at dawn, shrill and jarring. A nurse from County General said, "We have a Jane Doe matching your flyer. Come confirm." "Is she okay?" I asked, shaking. "She's alive, but rough. Hurry." I raced to the hospital, praying. The nurse led me down a sterile hall to a curtained bay. "Prepare yourself," she said. The girl on the bed was frail, bruised, oxygen tubes in her nose. I whispered, "Emily?" She turned, her eyes blank. It wasn't her. My knees buckled, but I gripped the bed. "I'm sorry," I said. "I thought you were my daughter." She nodded, tears welling. "My mom doesn't know where I am either." We sat in silence, sharing pain. The nurse tried to comfort me. "You're not the first. Every mother in LA is searching for someone." Outside, the sun rose over cracked pavement. I walked, numb, willing myself to feel anything but loss. I kept going, hoping the next call would be for Emily, that it wouldn't be too late. When the city overwhelmed me, I wrote letters to Emily on motel paper or diner receipts, never mailed, just a way to reach her. After the hospital, I wrote, "Dear Emily, today I thought a girl was you. I wanted it so badly. I'm still here, still searching, always." I wrote about Texas, Joshua's changing voice, Grandma's Sunday prayers, her room's dusty smell. I recalled her hating mustard, sneaking treats to her sister, singing softly at night. I'm sorry for every harsh word, for not listening enough. I wish I'd said you were enough. I don't care what you've done, I just want you home. Some letters were angry. Why did you run, Emily? Didn't you know I'd chase you forever? But most were love letters, a mother's vow in ink. I kept her photo in my wallet, talking to it. Maybe losing my mind, but still her mom. I tucked the letters under my pillow as if they could hold her place. I called home every few weeks, knowing they worried. Joshua answered, voice flat. Mom? Hi, honey, did I wake you? It's fine. He didn't ask where I was. How's school, I asked, grasping for normalcy. Okay, Grandma still makes meatloaf Sundays, leaves a plate for you like you'll walk in. I pictured the kitchen. Guilt ached in my chest. I'm sorry, Joshua, I'll call soon. We hung, unresolved. I wandered Emily's room in my mind, its untouched relics, trophies, drawings, her scent. I wondered what they told neighbors, if they blamed me for chasing a daughter who didn't want to be found. I ran into Linda again in morning fog at the soup kitchen, both of us worn thin. Her eyes were red. They found Toby, she whispered, in a drainage canal, alone for weeks. My stomach sank. I held her hand as she spoke of his love for comic books, his hatred of carrots, how he'd nap on her shoulder. We sat on the curb, eating thin soup, sharing grief's silence. As we parted, she gripped me. Don't stop, Deborah, even if it kills you. Her pain haunted me, a reminder that searches don't always end happily. That night, I wrote, Dear Emily, today I saw what losing hope looks like. I wish I could keep you safe forever. I'll never stop trying. 6 months after seeing Emily, Eddie called. Come to St. Cecilia's shelter. A girl's asking for you. I drove recklessly, heart pounding. In the crowded lobby, a girl sat in a too big blue jacket, hair limp. Emily? I whispered. She looked up. It was her, gaunt, bruised, but my Emily. We hesitated, then fell into each other's arms, sobbing. She was fragile, flinching at my touch. I don't know where else to go, Mom, she said, voice raw. You're safe now, I promised, tears falling. Eddie gave us a room for the night. I held her hands, memorizing every scar. We'll get through this. She nodded, gaze distant. That night, I slept beside her, holding her hand as she shivered, terrified her breathing would stop. Hope and fear battled in my heart. The nurse checked Emily's vitals, leaving us in a stark room. I handed her water, her hands spilling it. Her face was hollow, new scars on her arms, eyes hard yet young. Silence stretched until she spoke. I'm sorry for running, Mom. I thought it'd make things better. I wanted to disappear. I kept my hand near hers. I made mistakes too, I should have listened. It wasn't you, she said, tears falling. After the divorce, I felt invisible. They saw me, or pretended to. But it's a trap, not a family. Drugs help, but only for a moment. Let me help, I begged. We can go home, anywhere. She shook her head. They'll find me. They'll hurt you. Rage surged in me. You're my daughter, I'd do anything. She smiled faintly. I know, Mom. I love you. Always was have. We sat, tethered by love. That night I wrote, Dear Emily, tonight I saw your strength, your fear, your wounds. I wish I could carry your pain. I'll never stop trying. By morning, Emily looked worse, trembling, struggling to eat. The shelter gave us a fresh start. She smiled sadly. I wish I could, Mom. I'm so tired. That night I barricaded our door, dozing with one hand on her blanket, fearing every sound. At dawn I found her in the bathroom, shaking. Everything hurts, she whispered. We went to a clinic in a donated van. She rested on my lap in the crowded lobby, my humming lullaby soothing her. But they had no beds. By night we were back on the street, nowhere safe to go. We found a bench in MacArthur Park, away from the city's noise. Emily's head rested on my shoulder, hands trembling. We spoke softly, sharing stories of girls she'd met, all searching for something. She asked about home, Joshua, the orange cat on the porch. I told her how we missed her, how Joshua kept her cereal on the shelf. I'm sorry I hurt you, Mom, she said. I couldn't be better. You don't need to be better, I said, hugging her. Just be here. I'm tired, she whispered. I don't know if I can keep going. I'm here, I said, as long as you need. We watched the city lights, her head on my lap, my lullaby lulling her to sleep. Just before dawn, she stirred. I love you, Mom, don't forget. I'll never forget, I said, kissing her forehead. I love you more than anything." She squeezed my hand and slept. 2 days later, I searched parks, kitchens, stations. No one had seen her. On the third morning, the motel phone rang. "Is this Deborah?" An officer said. "We found a young woman matching your daughter's description. An overdose. She didn't make it." I couldn't breathe. She was just here. "We need you to identify her." I hung up, numb, splashing water on my face, staring at a stranger in the mirror. I identified her body, signed forms, called Joshua and my mother, their sobs echoing. My world ended in that hospital room. The flight home was a blur, a hollow woman clutching a backpack. Joshua met me at the airport, hugging me tightly. I cried finally. Days before the funeral, my mother made calls. Joshua chose a dress. Neighbors left food we couldn't touch. I wandered Emily's room, touching her trophies, drawings, her journal. At the funeral, the church overflowed with faces, teachers, neighbors, friends. The pastor's words floated over me. Joshua stood stoic. My mother wept. I spoke, voice shaking. Emily wasn't her choices. She was our light, stubborn, kind, loved fiercely. I'd do it all again for one more moment with her. At the cemetery, I tucked a letter into her dress as they lowered her casket. "Goodbye, sweetheart. I'll always love you." Grief followed me home, a constant shadow. But gratitude lingered, for every laugh, every hug, every love we shared. A week later, I found an envelope in her dresser, her handwriting scrawled, "For Mom." 3 letters inside. The first, months after she ran. "Mom, I know you're..." The last, tear-stained, weeks before her death. "Mom, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Don't blame yourself. You were the best, Mom. I was lost, couldn't find my way. Remember the good times, our laughs, road trips, you holding me? Live, Mom. Forgive yourself. I was always your daughter. You my home." I sobbed, clutching the letters. I placed them in a box with mine, a silent dialogue of love. That night, I dreamed of Emily as a child, laughing in the wind. Grief remained, but so did hope. Love, battered but enduring, never dies. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories. Get more experiences.